Technology, 21st century technology.
It's always a fun time trying to navigate it, right? I could imagine, especially when recording music.
Yeah, well, sometimes the music is upside down too. Troubleshooting is something that really, there's not many things, or there are not many things that, make me freak out, but troubleshooting, um, uh, recording digitally, and not it's not about digital things, but even analog troubleshooting, I hate it. And then you routed something wrong, and it's just the signal just doesn't go through. You have a cable, and you say, "Oh, come on, little signal, go from here to there. Just it's like just 30 centimeters. Just go over here." No, so I hate it, but it is what it is.
Would you say it's harder to manage those elements than maybe even the creative difficulties, like just the actual getting it done technically?
Yeah, but my workflow is pretty okay, and I don't have to troubleshoot every week or something. It's not very often that it happens. So I think neither is really a difficulty. Um, but getting it right creatively is never really a problem for me. I never really encounter problems because uh most of what I do is based on creatively is based on the sheer love for what I'm doing. It's more about the process. Actually, it's like a therapeutic thing to write music, to create music, to sit in front of the piano and start playing, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh, that's a great melody," and you sing some gibberish along to it. And that's actually, that is for me the quintessence of being a musician. The album, the outcome, that's just a byproduct of therapy, of my own musical therapy that I do. So I don't really encounter problems. Problems are what they're not related to the technical aspect or the creative aspect. Problems are, are related to the business aspect of things these days.
Right.
It's just, I mean, you get more trouble, dealing with the business aspect of things than the creative.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's about being adaptable to whatever comes your way, but also when it comes to the creative piece, remaining authentic to what you actually want to do. And that seems to be your main focus.
Yeah, it's just, as I said, it's just I just you often face expectations, yeah, expectations of the record company, expectations of your target audience, even though I don't think I have a target audience. I just know there are some people out there who appreciate me honestly doing what I want to do and think the result doesn't suck, so we may buy the record. so that's really, I think, what it is about. And it's I really enjoy letting out things, and not that I carry in me. I mean, it's like writing diary. What you do, at least for me, I've never been like a write on demand creator. I couldn't do that. Some people think they possess their favorite artist, and it's just something they own just because they bought a record once or a concert ticket, and they think that they are in the position to to demand certain things, bite-sized, and like if they were ordering a pizza and say, "Okay, I want a little more cheese." "No, no, 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 not too much cheese. A little more salami, please." "No, no, not too much, please." Mm, it doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, not fortunately, it doesn't work like that, because creativity is all about honesty. And if you need, I mean, the endurance you need as an artist when you do this. And I don't want to fish for empathy, because my life is not exactly really terrible, but it's there's a lot of pressure sometimes, and there's a lot of it's very demanding physically and mentally, when you're in it for so long, and you're doing it, and you're going out on these long tours, and you have to sing 3 hours every night, and it's very demanding, and I couldn't be doing it. I couldn't sacrifice some of my health as I did, and give so much if I was not doing what I believe in. So
Yeah.
it's a very selfish thing, but there is no. I mean, still, in the end of the day, I think the honesty is the biggest most precious gift you could give to somebody, your honest feelings. It's like, as I said, writing diary. And if you're honestly writing down what you have inside, it's unbribable. You just
Yeah.
write it. You can't write a diary on demand.
No, exactly. So let's run with that theme for a second then about creating on demand because you've been doing this for a long time. You've seen sort of the trend of the internet and the different manifestations of that and what I like to call the culture of now. You know, the fact that just wants everything on demand immediately.
Mm.
How have you kept this attitude of, remaining authentic to the creative process in terms of time as we continue to evolve into the culture of now, so to speak?
I think I never really tried to. I mean, I don't try to deny the facts and the way things go. I mean, certain things have changed, and you have to deal with them. And I'm surrounded by a team that deal with those things and probably try to keep reality a bit away of me when I do my very own thing. It's just it's it may sound weird, like I don't tell them they don't buy CDs anymore. Uh, hey Toby, the new CD is good. Oh
Right.
yeah, really? You think so? No, it's just the thing is
As long
the
as
thing
somebody
is
buys it.
and as long as somebody, but no, I think the truth is you have to do what you want to do, and as long as you get away with it, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I'm happy with the position I'm in. I'm I know I'm not Metallica and I'm not the Rolling Stones. I know that I will never be Metallica and the Rolling Stones. And the you know the where we are in our position is probably as big as it gets with that type of music and that approach that we have, and not giving too much of a am I supposed to say that F word? I mean,
Sure.
everybody knows what I was wanting to say, so I don't have to say it technically, but I don't give a about what is demanded, and I get away with it. So that's basically, being getting away with it without starving is a good basic condition for continuing to follow your heart, and it just feels good that way. It just there's no alternative. I mean, I'm in a happy position where I don't have. If one day people will say, Toby, you will end under the bridge, or you got to write Metal Opera Part 3, then I may say, okay, just make sure people know I hate to do what I'm doing now. I'm doing it now for the sake of not living under a bridge. Then I would maybe do it, but that's what I will rack my brain about it when the time has come.
Exactly. Do you feel like your level of freedom in that sense is directly related to how long you've been in the game? Like, do you think that you ever had to be more conscious of trends, or do you think you've retained that since day one?
We never really gave into trends. I mean, of course, we did songs like Carry Me Over, which at the time was when we did it with Eric Singer on drums and Sasha Pet on guitar. And we did it and we did the video with it, and we had a little love story in the video. And some people said it was Bon Jovi-ish. It wasn't. It was a bit Nickelback-ish. But it was not on purpose. It was not like, but of course, we did that one record with that guy. It was called Tinnitus Sanctus. And I think I wrote the album, and while at that time we were touring the US often, and or more often than we lately did, unfortunately. um so I was a bit, of course, you don't go with blinkers through life. I knew what was going on around us, with a drop D sounding guitars and a little
Mm.
more a hard rock approach, a very dark album with a very modern sound back then. You don't wear blinkers, but I never really thought that I should deny my roots in order to sell more records. I never really felt the urge to do it, and I thought, if you do what's trendy, it will take you a time until you've written an album, produced it, and released it. And by the time it comes out, Flavor of the Week is Flavor of 7 weeks ago.
Exactly.
Uh, so metaphorically spoken. So I thought there was never a point of, I always thought the bands that I liked, they were successful just following their own instincts. It was bands like, Dio and Iron Maiden, and they were never really Flavor of the Week. It was always odd and grotesque and quirky to a certain extent. but it was great and heartfelt, and it offered people a parallel universe to escape into, where they didn't have to watch what was on the news, and where they didn't have to, feel what the zeitgeist was telling them. It wasn't a gate to a different universe. It was all about escaping. And if you do what's flavor of the week, you're not exactly escaping flavor of the week. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy doing something that is in my head. Whatever the rest of the world thinks about is beyond my control.
I love that. How about jumping over to the latest single, "Against the Wind," of course, featuring
Mm.
Kenny Lacremo. You guys described this track especially as containing a lot of what Avantasia stands for. How would you describe exactly what Avantasia stands for?
Powerful music, timeless music, based in the 80s with flavor of the 70s, maybe here and there, produced like in 2024. So it's a very, very state of the art production, but it's got the roots of Avantasia's sound. It's got big choirs, it's got heavy guitars, it's got powerful drumming, it's got very European neoclassical influences. It's got a great duet with one of the best singers of Sweden, I would say, of the whole new generation of heavy metal and hard rock singers worldwide, Kenny Lacremo. And and all the Avantasia trademarks that I could not just um name the way I just named all these things that I just did, because there are a lot of trademarks that are rooted in the DNA of Avantasia that you just feel when you have listened to Avantasia before. I think when a fan, at least that's what I've been told by people around me, when you listen to the song, you feel that's Avantasia. It's a new song, and it's a song we haven't done like that before. Um, but still, people feel it feels home. It feels like this is Avantasia. It's got the quintessence of Avantasia, and so that's what makes it a typical Avantasia song, I think.
I like that. And you definitely have that uplifting feeling as well in the track. And again, you described it as, it comes over you with a sheer force and then drags you to a better place. Was that a very conscious choice to be making music that is uplifting, that is sort of bringing people to a better place, not only metaphorically, but also when they listen to it?
Um, I think it was not a conscious decision or choice. I would rather say it's a reflection of my nature. A song like "Unleash the Kraken" off of the new album. I think that song represents a lot of what I stand for. I wrote the song from a position of being really pissed off about somebody. I was really angry. And when you deal with a feeling such as anger, you can either let it take hold of your whole well being and become a miserable chap and destroy things or want to beat somebody up. But you can also take that song, go to your safe space, your safe haven, Mystery House in the studio I'm where I am right now, and turn it into something positive. And the song is about conjuring up a positive state of mind, in that case conjuring up a, um, a monster, a spirit, a ghost, an entity, a state of mind that will make it easier for you to deal with the reality outside, and you go into yourself, and it's an introspection, and you process things, and you turn something very positive and powerful, and you return to the world of the assholes and say, everybody, hey, you can't fucking do any harm to me because I'm at peace with myself. I'm doing something I love. I can go to a safe space, to my own world, to Club Toby, as I do every now and then, to create new music. It's a state of mind, a mental thing. And return stronger and deal with the world outside. And I think that's what heavy metal and hard rock has always been about. To me, it's always been a safe space. It's been a place where I was going when I was listening to those old AC/DC records and Ozzy Osbourne and Blackie Lawless and Dee Snider. It was the music. They were talking to me. They were creating a safe space for me. And I was going there processing negativity into positivity. And I was going back out to the world of the living stronger. And so it's not a conscious decision to create music like that. It's always been my nature. Um,
Yeah.
I want to make. I want to make. I mean, it's a big word to say. I want to make the world a better place. Sounds like Michael Jackson, in fact. But no, I want to. I rather want to make things better than worse. And if
Sure.
somebody comes and say, "Hey, Toby, your new music helped me to overcome difficult times," that's the biggest compliment I can get. And it's much better than saying somebody, as opposed to somebody coming up and saying, "Hey, Toby, I felt really good until I listened to your new song, and now I feel really suicidal." No, a wrong thing. The world is shitty enough. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just sometimes, we're presented with challenging situations surrounding us, and I think it's just, I just I just derive great joy and great strength from, looking at the good side of things and seeing the glass always half full instead of half empty, and making, you know turning myself towards the light. Oh,
Yeah, exactly. And you have to be very conscious about that as well.
yeah, of course. I mean, it's a lot of what I do in music and life in general is about self-conditioning, because another song, Phantasmagoria, it's a song about being very conscious about what you surround yourself with and what it does to your subconscious mind. The song speaks about one of those classic magic shows of the early 20th century, and even going back to the Phantasmagoria shows, which was an early kind of movie theater thing, where they were, showing tricks with magic lanterns and scaring off viewers and spectators, who paid a little fee, a little ticket, or back then I think it was the aristocrats who came to watch a show, and somebody watching, putting on a ghost theater with little tricks and illusions. And so uh, Phantasmagoria speaks about that, about, also about a magic show where, tricks are being presented, and eventually it's kind of, the reality and illusion and perception, they kind of become one thing and are really hard
Mm.
to tell one from another. And it deals with, with a lot of what I experience these days. Even though that you will get into a certain state of mind when you surround yourself with too much of this or too much of that, and that it shouldn't be affecting you, and you're prepared it shouldn't affect you. Still, if you
Yeah.
surround yourself with too much negativity, which we do in the day and age of the Facebooks and Instagrams and all, negativity, and just turning on the television and watching the news, it shouldn't be doing something with you. But if you feed yourself with too much negativity, it will have an effect. It will drag you down into an abyss.
Oh yeah.
And there was, Nietzsche once said, if you stare into the abyss for too long, the abyss is going to stare back into you. And that's what Phantasmagoria is about. So, absolutely, my this new album in general is about self-conditioning, about perception, about many songs are about self-conditioning. And I think even in Edguy and early Avantasia, subconsciously, a lot of what I did had to do with self-conditioning and, looking at the beautiful things in life, and not falling for, getting into that downward spiral of negativity.
No question. How you doing on time, by the way? I know that you had a couple slots.
That's okay. That's okay. We're fine. Ask whatever you want to ask. I mean, I think in three hours I'm gonna watch football, soccer. Sorry, but
There you go. Okay. Let me that's perfect. Let me slide two more in then. Just wondering about, if we take it back a little bit, working with Klaus Main. Just wanted to know what your experience was like with him. Obviously, an incredibly iconic voice, and I think a guy who, as time goes on, we're starting to see more and more appreciation for, the impact he's made within this genre.
Klaus is a lovely guy, a super, super nice guy. We had played with the Scorpions, I think, a long time ago for the first time. We played tours with the Scorpions with Ed Guy. We've been playing in South America with the Scorpions with Avantasia. We've always had a great relationship with the band, with Rudolf and Klaus and all the band. And Klaus is a lovely guy, and the band has had a huge impact. One thing I remember, I was playing the Marquee Theater in, I don't know, it was Phoenix, Arizona, I believe, with Ed Guy. And I got into the cab, and the guy, cab driver, of course, very talkative. That's something about American cab drivers. They're very talkative. I thought I was talkative, but he was anyway. He was asking me like, "Where you guys from?" Germany. Germany, what are you doing in America? I'm playing a show tonight at the Marquee Theater. Marquee Theater, what kind of music? I said, rock music. Rock music from Germany. You know the Scorpions? That was the first thing. Then another incident, the same tour, I got in the car and it was like Sent Me an Angel was being played. And then there was Rock You Like a Hurricane. It's on radio, even. I mean, the rock station in the US. And the Scorpions had a huge impact and they paved the way and plowed their way through music and paved the way for all of us German bands. I mean, even Rammstein and the Scorpions and Accept and all of us. I think without the Scorpions, we wouldn't be taken seriously outside Germany. I mean, Germany was known for krautrock. It was, I mean, of course, it was not the motherland of great rock and roll music. There were some real eerie and quirky beat bands in the 60s, but the Scorpions really put Germany on the map, not just for trying to attack the world every couple of years, but also for delivering great music. I'm sorry for saying that. That's not politically correct. That was very black English humor. But anyway, the Scorpions put Germany on the map for something really beautiful, such as art. And I really love Klaus. I love the Scorpions. They're great guys. They wrote, 100 hits. I love that band. And nothing but respect to Klaus and the guys. And it was great working with him. He's such a patient guy, such a lovely guy, such a great guy to hang out with and have a sip of beer with. He doesn't usually drink on tour except for maybe a little bit of beer, which is good, obviously. But
Yeah, probably smart.
yeah, yeah, very smart. And he's a smart guy. The whole band. I mean, I love Rudolph, I love Klaus. They're great guys and a great band.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been so cool seeing them just continue to have like a modern day resurgence, with the Vegas residency. Obviously
Well,
sending out a lot of good feelings to Mickey D as well for his recent health scares. So sending that out. I was curious as well, just another current event in rock and metal I wanted to get your take on. Of course, Black Sabbath announcing their final reunion concert coming up on July 5th. Of course, they've enlisted a lot of different bands in the world of metal. Ozzy Osbourne saying he, quote, can't walk anymore, but his voice is working better than ever. What are your thoughts on this reunion? Do you think it's fitting that Ozzy would go on stage without being able to walk, or maybe is this a little too far for the legacy of Sabbath?
I'm not in the position to judge, I have to say. Personally, as a music lover, I would love him to go out with Jake E. Lee and play Bark at the Moon and
There we
and
go.
The Ultimate Sin. That was the Aussie stuff. I love Sabbath, but I love Sabbath more for the stuff they did with Tony Martin and Ronnie Dio and even Ian Gillan and Glenn Hughes and Ray Gillan, and well, they had so many singers. They even had a show, I think, with Rob Halford. So of course, Ozzy and Sabbath, they were very influential and they kind of were genre fathers. I don't know what it's going to sound like. I don't know if I'm in the position to judge. I wish him nothing but the best. Ozzy Osbourne is cult. Tony Iommi is absolute cult legends. So I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I would rather want to hear the Ultimate Sin and Heaven and Hell and the Headless Cross than Iron Man. I
There
have
you
to say,
go.
I'm sorry, I'm probably going to be crucified now,
That's okay.
doomed.
The Dio years are a good thing, though. I mean, I know it's controversial, but I think there's a solid argument for both periods of the band, even Tony Martin.
Ab- Absolutely, absolutely. But I'm an '80s guy. I really loved,
Yeah.
the Headless Cross.
Yeah.
I love that. And sing me your song, you're a singer. Do me no wrong. Do me no wrong. Is that right? But anyway, I love the stuff they did. Even the album they did with Ian Gillan, although I thought it had a weird production, but the songs like I think Trashed, and that was a good album that I think unfortunately nobody bought except from Ronnie Atkins and me. So I think they
Yeah.
sold two
I
copies at
might
the
have a
time.
third copy as well of the record somewhere.
Okay. So we're probably the three people who are responsible for them not splitting up back then and continuing on, having the change to continue on.
It's tough. It's tough, but somebody had to show up and do it. Um, To wrap it up, let me ask you about, of course, the latest record, which is going to be dropping on February 28th, Here Be Dragons. Speaking of the classic 80s era and really bringing that back, the album cover, I think, really channels that energy. And I love the CD set and all the different releases you guys have with it. How long did it take you guys to find an artist for this cover? And what was the process like for the whole branding behind the record?
It wasn't difficult to find an artist at all. It was coincidence. It was the passing of Tony Clarkin, the guitar player of Magnum. Very, very, very sad and very shocking tragedy for me, because I've always been the biggest Magnum fan in the world. And I got a phone call of Rodney Matthews, the cover artist, who's also been the cover artist for most Magnum albums. And as I'm a friend of the band, and Rodney is a friend of the band, he said, "Toby, have you heard Tony Clarkin has passed away? And they will issue a press statement later today, and I want you to hear it from somebody personally and not just read it in the press." So we had a 2 hour conversation about everything about Tony and Magnum and our relationship, Rodney and mine. And that was the conversation. It was in January 2024. That was the conversation when I finally, or not finally, but when I thought, wow, I want to ask Rodney Matthews, because Magnum and Rodney's artwork, it has always meant so much to me. And I was completely aware that it's not flavor of the week, because these days everybody needs, you know, album artworks that are iconic as a symbol, a stamp sized, thumbnail sized, working on streaming platforms, being looked at on mobile phone displays. This big and or
Right.
small, and Rodney's approach is the opposite. Rodney's approach is art. It's art. It's painted. It's flashy. It's loud colors, and it's grotesque shapes, and it has to be watched on a poster size, and it's painted actually on a huge um canvas. And so I asked Tony, "Would you want to do that artwork for me?" Here Be Dragons. The album is called Here Be Dragons, not because it's about dragons, but it's about the approach was, I had seen that expression on an ancient sea map
Mm.
as a way to indicate uncharted territory. Here be dragons. Nobody knows what's going to be found here, but it may be potentially dangerous. So that's called Here be dragons, and or here there be dragons. And I thought that resembled and reflected my approach to writing the album, because for the first time in the career of Avantasia, I didn't come up with a storyline before. I didn't sit down and put a story on the paper and try to follow it as a guideline. I just thought, no, I'm going to throw myself into the work on the new album, just going to start writing music and creating music. And it's going to be Avantasia because I have that DNA in me. I know what Avantasia sounds like, and it will automatically sound and feel and smell and taste like Avantasia. So that was my approach, and I gave Rodney just the clue. It's called Here Be Dragons. I sent him 2 lyrics, I think. It was for Avalon and Bring On the Night, and I told him about the approach, and I said, "Rodney, you do your thing. Just make sure when you scale it down to a thumbnail that's going to be shown on a mobile phone on a streaming platform, when what people are going to see when they go to their streaming platform, um, make sure people identify it as an iconic dragon with
Yes.
spread out wings." And um, and that's all I told him, and he came up with that beautiful artwork. And I know it's not at all trendy or flavor of the week, and it's not modern. It's
But it's
timeless
awesome.
art. Yeah, and that's what I thought. I thought, like, if you go for flavor of the week, by the time your album is finished, flavor of the week is dead. It's going to be
Exactly.
something new, and you're going to be way. If you follow trends, you will always be too late, because trends come and go so fast. So um, I rather want to approach it with the goal of being not fashionable, without, just doing my thing, um,
Yeah.
without following a trend. And that's how we approach it in every aspect. Artwork, production is maybe up to date, I would say, but
Yeah.
artwork, songwriting, sound aesthetics, um, arrangement aesthetics. I mean, I'm a child of the 80s. Now everybody says the 80s are back. That's what's trendy. I think it's weird. The 80s are not back. It's 2025. It's probably the sound of the 80s is back in trend because it all moves in circles. But if you follow those circles and if you want to be on top of things and calculate what's going to be the flavor of next week, it's going to make you seasick. So I rather
Exactly.
want to be an outdated, old fashionable, odd, quirky chap.
I love that so much, Tobias. And honestly, man, I appreciate your willingness to be you and to just push and create what you want to make and not follow all of these imaginary rules that are being set in music. My favorite thing about music is that there's no rules, and I think we need people like you to keep pushing the envelope for genuine creativity. I'm trying to do that with my interviews. So I thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and thank you for doing what you do, man.
Thank you. Thank you for being interested in what I'm having to say and for supporting our music and for spreading the word. So thanks go right back to you. Thank you.